Optimism is the superpower you never knew you needed. And do you want to know something brilliant? It's a skill, not a talent. You get better at it over time. Welcome back to hashtag Run For Not From week 19, where we run with intention and for your opportunities. And in this week, we're talking about optimism, and it's something that doesn't get enough credit. It's something that I think people also misunderstand. If you think being optimistic is just being kind, being good, but letting life walk all over you, that's not what it is. And if you think being hopeful is naive, then this video is for you, because we're going to break down what optimism can do for you, what it can do for those around you, and how it can better your life. And we're going to talk through some ways of doing that, some of my life stories with optimism, and then as always, we're going to end with the quote of the week. And this one's a good one from a very, very inspirational person. Now, if you are new to hashtag Run For Not From, this is week 19. So as you may have guessed, we've made 18 of these videos before. And if this topic may not excite you as much as you wanted it to, look back at the previous weeks where we talk about sleep, supplements, training, happiness, and everything like that, and many, many more. And if there's a topic area you want me to do, leave it in the comments. So, like and subscribe, look back at the previous weeks, and I hope you enjoy this video. So first and foremost, what is optimism and what is it not? You know, because optimism is not about denying reality. It's not just about, oh, saying everything's going fine. It's about when things aren't going well, you know they're going to get better, and you're going to be the reason why they do get better. Optimism is a conscious action. It's courageous in a way. It's showing that you're not giving up, you're not backing down, and you're up to the task at hand. And that's really, really important. I think optimistic people really do drive for success, and that optimism that they have within themselves is the reason that keeps them going. And optimism doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It doesn't mean you don't get hurt. It just means that pain doesn't get the last word. Optimism gets the last say. It's the final thing in your brain. Yes, this has gone wrong, things have gone bad, but the optimism gets the last laugh, and that is, but they're going to get better. I'm going to make them better. And using the context of running, so hashtag Run For Not From, where we run for our problems and not from them. That optimism is one more step. You're not done yet. You've come so far, and you can go a heck of a lot further. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my own experience with optimism, and I'm going to be completely honest. I'm a very optimistic person. I like to think in some weird way of mentality that I'm the best at optimism in the world, you know? And of course I've had low moments, and I'll continue to have low moments, but I'm just an unbelievably positive person. One of my many mantras is, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to work out. And it's not the quote of this week, but from a film called The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel, one of the lines in that is, everything's going to be alright, and if it's not alright, it's not quite the end. There's still more to go. So that being said, optimism comes very naturally to me, but how did I get here? It's through practice. As I said in the intro, optimism is a skill, not a talent. And the fundamental belief system behind my optimism is simply accept the things that I cannot change and take charge of the things that I can. And I think that's so important. If you're bogged down and just hurt by things that are completely out of your control, it is wasting your time, it is wasting your energy. You're better than that. However, if you write down a list of things that are worrying you and you get a list of things that are in your control, optimism is, I am going to be the reason that I turn all those worries on my list into my biggest strengths. And that's all it is. That's all optimism is. And what's so amazing about it is, when I saw my optimism almost infecting other people and bringing up their own optimism, it was like an IV line of adrenaline, and it just surged me on further that this could be my purpose of being just the most optimistic person on the planet. And that's what I'm striving for. I think that's what this channel's about. Optimism, acceptance, kindness, motivation, and hard fucking work. But it's all well and good me telling you to be optimistic, be optimistic, be optimistic, and for me not to give you any exercises or ways to work on your optimism. So I'm going to give you four little things that I do, some of them more successfully than others, but I do on quite a regular basis. And number one, you're going to reframe your optimism. You're going to start saying things in your head differently. So instead of "this went wrong," it's "what can I learn from this? How can I better myself?" And that simple word change of, it's almost "I am," owning it, taking it under consideration and really driving with it. A lot of the stuff that I get is from a book that I've been reading called Atomic Habits by James Clear. So if you're interested in building up habits, things that are a bit difficult for you to do, I would highly recommend you reading that book. So you're going to reframe your setbacks. Secondly, you're going to start visually meditating optimism. And that sounds really weird, and it's the one that I struggle with most, but it's the one that's got the easiest amount of access, because all you're going to simply do is, when you wake up for 10 minutes, you're going to think about things. You're going to be, how can I bring some energy into the world? How can I be optimistic with my daily actions? 3, and you've heard me say this one so many times, now you must be getting bored of it, but you've got to surround yourself with energy and not excuses. Now what does that mean? Get rid of the people who are dragging you down and keep those close who drive you for more. You don't have to be mean, you don't have to be cruel, you don't have to necessarily cut loads of people out of your life, but understanding that separation is for your own mental well-being and for your own success. And fourth and final, simply as, give yourself some small wins. When you do something optimistic, note it down, make yourself aware of it, and reward yourself with something. It can be as simple as chocolate, sweets, you know, going to the gym, going for a run, carving out that time. That could be your stress relief. But those 4 things, if you do them on a regular basis, you'll become an optimistic master, and people will love to be around you, and you'll like looking at yourself in the mirror again. And that's a big thing. You gotta love who you are. Don't be egotistical, don't be vain, don't be up your own arse. You gotta love who you are, and if you don't, it's your responsibility to change it, because no one else can change it for you. On last week's run, we started a new segment of hashtag Run For Not Prom, and I have to say it was probably the only positive thing about last week's video. It wasn't my finest work. The resolution was wrong, I was shooting in the wrong display, the editing was rushed and didn't look quite right, but hopefully I'm back to winning form. However, that being said, there was a silver lining to that pretty run-of-the-mill video, and that was the quick fire run reflections. And it's going to be 4 things that I want you to think about. You maybe want to write down the questions, you maybe want to just type them on your phone, but when the video's over, or even if you want to pause for a few minutes, I want you to stop this video and think about the answers to these questions. Don't look online, don't ask for others, it's only you who can answer them. You maybe even want to be as dramatic as looking yourself in the mirror as you do. Number 1, what's one thing that I'm looking forward to this week? Just one thing. Write it down, put it in your phone, think about it. What is one thing that you're looking forward to this week? Question number 2, what's one way that I've gotten stronger or more resilient from your past experiences? This doesn't have to be last week, last month, last year, through your whole life. Think of one time, one occasion where something made you stronger or more resilient, and write it in the comments. Question number 3, who do I know who radiates optimism, and what can I learn from them? You know, what can I soak up from this expert in optimism, and why are they so optimistic? Ask them. Don't be afraid, don't be shy. Next time you see them, go up to them and say, look, you're just a really optimistic, positive person. What's your why? And maybe you'll learn something. And finally, and this one's a big one, the 4th question. If I truly started to believe that things will work out, what will I achieve? What dreams have been quashed by your own self-doubt? Because say to yourself, things will work out. I will make them work out, and they will become a reality. All those big, lofty dreams, desires and goals that you thought were impossible to reach, if you just believed this will work out, maybe they become reality. Are you stopping yourself from being the best version of yourself? Peace, power, perspective and possibility. That's what we run for here. So maybe you don't need to fake joy to be optimistic, but maybe you do need to practice positivity, because that's what we're all about on this channel. This is what Run For, Not From is all about. So before we go on to this week's quote of the week, I want to say thank you so much for watching and for joining me on this journey, because I hope you're learning something, I hope you're developing in certainly the same way that I am, because I'm massively enjoying this. So to keep this channel growing, to keep it moving forward, to build up that momentum, like, subscribe and leave a comment. So without further ado, let's go to the quote. And those of you who are familiar with my podcast or vlog, whatever you want to call it, will be familiar with this area. I've done my quotes here a few times. This is a place almost at the halfway point in my runs. A lovely place to stop, reflect, think in the ruins of this old building. So with that being said, we're going to go on to this week's quote of the week, which comes from Nelson Mandela. Now, if there's anything we can learn from Nelson Mandela, it is being optimistic. Because Nelson Mandela was imprisoned for a life sentence, of which he served 18 years for opposing the South African apartheid, so the separation of black people and white people in South Africa. When he was in prison for those 18 years, he got a Bachelor of Law degree, in prison. In a South African prison, being a black man in apartheid South Africa can't have been easy, but he got a Bachelor of Law degree. And then in 1994, he was appointed the first black president of South Africa. So if there's anything of a life story about being optimistic and driving for success and for your vision to become reality,